Hey everybody, welcome to the Lotus Podcast. This is episode 6, The Past is the Past. I'm Heather Weebner, here to bring you some inspiration. So today we're going to talk about the past, and everybody has one, including me. We all have experienced regret, hurt, embarrassment, failed attempts at either relationships or jobs or projects, grudges, betrayal. The list goes on and on. A negative past encompasses all those things, and the memories in the past bring about negative thoughts and emotions, and ultimately can create a barrier from moving forward in a positive way. So when we spend a lot of time ruminating about the past, we need to learn how to do that in such a way that we have a positive outcome. So I was talking to my husband one time. He was struggling with something, and I said to him, "How does it make you feel? Like, physically describe what it makes you feel like." And he said, "Well, it's like swallowing a cube." And he said, "The cube goes down my throat really like jagged and sharp, and it gets inside, and I have to just like tumble it around for a while till I get it to feel comfortable." And I was like, "Oh, like a rock tumbler." He was like, "Yeah, exactly." So I had this vision of a rock tumbler. You throw an old gray, jagged, dingy, rock, sharp-edged rock into it. You tumble it for a month in some water, and when you open up that tumbler 30 days later, you have this gorgeous, shiny, colorful, polished gemstone. And I said, well, that's a perfect analogy. That's kind of what we need to do with this issue that you're having. We need to dissect it and roll it around a little bit, and figure it out so you have something shiny at the end. So basically, that's what I'm trying to say, taking a negative situation from the past, dissecting the lesson from it, keeping all the good memories, and discarding that negative shell of that memory, because it doesn't serve you any purpose now in your current space. So dealing with the past can be life-changing, all for the good, if you take the time to do it. So I'm going to give you a couple tips about what to do if you're struggling with something from the past that's eaten at you. So the first one is taking ownership. It's hard sometimes to say, yeah, I did that, especially if it's something, out of the ordinary or something that you regret. It's hard to say, yeah, that was me, and I take full ownership for it. But that can be so healing in so many ways. And it could be something from way back in your past. It could be something very recent. But if you have an issue with someone that has never been resolved, it might be worth, going back to them and saying, look, I take ownership. I never said this before, but I need to say it because I need to clear myself of this. So taking ownership is huge. It takes courage. It's not an easy thing to do most of the time, but it has great rewards. So if you can do that, go for it. A lot of times when we blame others for the past, we create like a victimhood for ourselves. And that evokes sadness, weakness, sometimes embarrassment, depending what the situation is. And it's not a good feeling. It's not a good place to be. So by blaming others and not taking that ownership, we actually are damaging ourselves in the long run. So not blaming others is a good way to look inward and say, they said this to me and it made me feel this way. Well, no one can make you feel a certain way unless you consent. So if someone's saying something nasty to you, you can allow them in your head and allow that to get to you, or you can put your wall up and say, I'm not, in your head, you can say this, I'm not going to give them the authority to make me feel this way. I know who I am. I'm going to stand tall in what I am, who I am, what I believe. So someone making you feel a certain way is kind of silly, because no one has that power unless you let them. And that also goes hand in hand with the fact that you can't control what someone says or does, but you can control how you react. And how you react can set the course for the rest of that particular situation. So you might think about something from the past and have a regret, saying, I wish I wouldn't have said that. I wish I wouldn't have done that. Oh, what was I thinking? I should have done this instead. Well, obviously we can't go back and change that because, as I said, the past is the past. But you can take that little nugget of knowledge and use it the next time a scenario or a situation comes up very similar to that. So learning from that past experience is such a gift, but you have to be present and conscious to do that. The other thing is, number 2, cut the emotional attachment, especially to the negative parts of your past. So I'm going to use a relationship like a lover relationship. So you're in a relationship, it ended. You didn't want it to end, but the other person ended it. So now you're at a point where you're devastated. It feels like a very negative thing to you. But are you going to be okay without that relationship? Yes. Why are you so upset? Because you wanted it to last forever. So once you get past the initial hurt of that and the emotional part of it, you can dig in and say, okay, this relationship either taught me that I want a relationship with all those qualities. I'm just going to have to do that with someone else who wants the same things. Or it taught me, whoa, I never, ever want a relationship like that again. I'm going to regroup, figure out what I want, and move forward from that. I'll take all of the good memories that I had from the relationship with me, because I don't want to get rid of those. But I am going to say high five, bam, and goodbye to that relationship and the negative memories that it has with it. So savor the good parts of the story. Because, in the past, relationships are tricky. Sometimes they have good, they have bad. I don't know any relationship that has never had a negative moment. So take the good parts of it and be happy that you had that. You have to clear out the negativity of it so that you can make room in your current world for positive things to come. And that's what happens when you take a situation. And if it's something that you put a lot of energy into, ruminating about it or crying about it, take that emotion and that energy and put it into something positive, something new, something that makes you feel good in the here and the now. Like I said, give that old thing a high five, out of here, goodbye. All right, the third thing and final thing I want to talk about is forgiving yourself. And that's not always an easy one to do, especially if you were at fault in the negative situation from the past. We all make mistakes. That's one thing you need to hear. We all make mistakes. I don't know any person on this planet that has not made mistakes. So allow yourself some grace, be gentle, understand it's okay to make a mistake. In fact, some of my biggest and best lessons in my life came from the biggest and worst mistakes I've ever made. So take that for what it's worth. Look back over some of the mistakes that you made that turned into something positive. You may have been fired from a job and you were devastated, and guess what? A bigger, better dream job came along, and you wouldn't have been, that wouldn't have been accessible to you if you had been where you were before. So I know it's cliche, when one door closes, another one opens kind of thing. But a lot of times in the past, when stuff happens like that, something better is coming along. So just be patient, live in the moment, acknowledge, the past is the past, take out the good, and move forward with the lesson that it gave you. And just remember that a mistake is it's not a dead end in our world. It is just a speed bump on the road of life. And within every mistake is at least one lesson. There may be multiple lessons. And I know sometimes it's a lot easier to see the lesson in the rearview mirror when you're in the throes of it and your emotions are high and your thoughts are swirling about the situation. You can't make sense of the lesson at that time. And sometimes it needs to play out down the road so that you can look in that rearview mirror and say, oh, I see clearly now what I was supposed to do and didn't do, or what I should have done, or what I could do better. So everything in our past happens for a reason. And if you're able to take those negative things and turn them into something positive, and, like I said, discard the negative shell of it, take the good out of it and move forward, you'll be in really good shape. There's a saying I like to say, we're all flawsome. And that means we're all awesome, but we all have flaws. So don't beat yourself up over the past, and, understand that we're all flawsome. It's pretty neat, right? We all have flaws, but we're still really, really, really good and can move forward and, learn from that. The thing I tell my kids all the time is my daughter has this habit of going to the negative first. Like, she'll be away, and when she comes home, I'll say, hey, how was your day? And she'll be like, I stubbed my toe and I got stung by a bee. I'll say, okay, are you all right? And what good things happened? And then she'll be like, oh, we went for a picnic and I got ice cream and, we went swimming and it was a great day. Okay. So she has that nature to kind of go to the negative first, and we're working on that. But I always say to her, if you have your hands behind you like this, and you're carrying this big, heavy load of negativity and stuff you can't really change and, is old stuff, why are you dragging that behind you? Start to let go of it, and bring your hands around the front again. And then you can hold them out to catch all the blessings that are coming your way. But as long as you have them back there and they're weighted down with all that negativity, you're not going to be able to reach forward or move forward, for that matter. So it's kind of a visual for her that helps, because she's now saying it. I heard her say it to one of her friends the other day. She said, you got to reach front to catch your blessings. And it was so cute, because I thought, oh, we're getting somewhere. But anyway, that might be a good visual for you too. You have your hands behind you dragging all that junk. Get rid of the junk. Reach front and catch what's coming. There's some good stuff out there. So anyway, go be the light, love and be loved, and I'll talk to you soon.